What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Cannibal Corpse album, Red Before Black. So, death metal band Cannibal Corpse are back with their 14th studio album. Pretty far into their career at this point. They're going on 30 years, which is quite impressive. They're an interesting band because I feel like they're a band that gets a lot of flack from both non-metal fans and metal fans alike. From the non-metal fan side, they've always been known for these very gruesome, creepy album covers, very, vile lyrics, and just depictions in all these songs of just killing people. That's pretty much what they sing about. But the band has been very outspoken about being very influenced by horror movies. They kind of look at their music like it is like a horror movie. And, for me, it was never anything to take too seriously, all in good fun. And from the metal fan side, I think that sort of popularity they had gained from their controversial nature, getting banned in certain countries, or certain songs being banned for their lyrical content. I think especially in metal, when a band gets propelled to a certain sort of status and becomes a sort of poster boy type thing for a certain genre, a lot of metal fans tend to react negatively to that. I think a good example nowadays is Ghost. They've really become quite popular over the last couple of years, and you're seeing a lot of backlash for that. Are they metal? Are they not? I mean, that's not really the case for Cannibal Corpse, deciding if they're metal or not, but there definitely is some debate over how much they really have changed it up throughout their career. A lot of people will say not so much. A lot of fans of the band, however, will go in and be able to discern these little differences as they went on throughout their discography. But regardless, those first 4 records that the band had with Chris Barnes, very, very influential when it comes to death metal. And Cannibal Corpse was really one of those pioneering bands that took what the thrash guys were doing and just propelled it to this more extreme level. And especially in the United States, brought this sort of genre to a whole new type of popularity throughout the 90s and until now. For me personally, those Barnes records, definitely classics, those first 4 albums. After those albums, they got a new singer, George Corpse Grinder Fisher, who's been in the band since then, since around 1995-96. I always liked the album Vile, that they started off with him. Me personally, I love the Barnes songs, but I like the Corpse Grinder vocals way more in this band. I like that you could slightly understand him a little bit more than Barnes. But regardless, after Vile, Cannibal Corpse went into a span of records that don't really stand out too much to me. That is, of course, until Kill in 2006. And since then, I just think they've had a really steady stream of solid releases. Torture in 2012 has become a bit of a fan favorite. A Skeletal Domain, the last one, very big on the Slayer influences. But I will say, compared to Red Before Black now, Skeletal Domain sounds a lot cleaner, even though it is quite a heavy album. I feel like on Red Before Black, the new record, they've gone back to that kind of murky, dark, grim sound. You hear it in the sort of dissonance of the kind of atmosphere of the record. And as usual, there's no shortage of aggressive, thrashy, in-your-face type tracks. But they do offer, just enough type of diversity in the sound to keep your interest peaked throughout the record. Overall, it makes for a really solid album. I do enjoy this one quite a lot. Again, I don't really put too much weight into their music. You kind of know what to expect out of Cannibal Corpse at this point. And if they come out with a solid, aggressive, fun record, then I'm pretty much happy with it. The 2 openers, Only One Will Die and Red Before Black. Right out the gate, these thrashy, crazy, heavy songs. Everything you love about death metal coming out in these songs. I've seen some reactions saying they're kind of boring because they're just kind of standard Cannibal Corpse. But, they just make for a nice 1-2 punch to get things going. Excellent drumming on this album overall, but you especially hear it in these kind of songs. And you get a lot of really off-the-wall, crazy sort of guitar solos. Just a lot of aggression in these first 2 tracks. And then Code of the Slashers hits, and it sort of changes things up a little bit. You're getting a slowed down, kind of doomy, sludgy type sound here to start things off. You're getting these, epic guttural vocals from Corpse Grinder. Before the song ultimately picks up, goes into the sort of faster type elements, and then eventually goes back into that slower, doom-ridden, kind of groovy feel. Speaking of groove, the next track, Shedding My Human Skin, once it gets going, just has a very infectious type of beat and groove to it. Really a great one to headbang to. And then you hear it on this song, and quite a few others on here as well. They're playing around with a lot of different time signatures here and there, a lot of different tempos, and a lot of different, overall moods for where the songs go. Some slightly weaker moments for me on here. Remaimed is one that comes to mind. I think just because those opening riffs, the way the guitars are kind of dueling each other, really sounds like it's falling apart to me. There's some nice guitar work later in the track, but it just kind of takes a while to get going, and the way it just feels like it's so sluggish in the beginning, Doesn't quite work for me. Another one, Head Shoveled Off, just kind of gets lost in the mix. Doesn't really stand out on its own too much. And a lot of the elements of this song are done quite better on a lot of the other songs on here. And then some other standouts. You have Firestorm Vengeance, which starts off with this very heavy, crunchy riff. Scavenger Consuming Death. I love the sort of bass focus here. Alex Webster, the bassist, is really allowed to shine on this song, which harkens back to stuff like Hammer Smashed Face, where the bass really shines there. You know, similar to that song, you have these stops and you have these bass breaks, and I really do like that, before ultimately getting back into some very aggressive stuff. And Destroyed Without a Trace. The album is kind of bookended by, you know, fairly similar, just aggressive, fast songs, but Destroyed Without a Trace really kind of stands out to me. I like the sort of Metallica Whiplash-like opener, and then as the song goes on in the middle there, where you have those guitar breaks and just, you know, squealing, crazy leads and solos, you know, on top of this sort of groovier drum beat, kind of almost sounds like a Sepultura kind of feel, like a Roots kind of feel as far as the drum beat is going, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so overall, I mean, 14 albums into their career, I think they've just continued to churn out pretty solid releases. And again, they're not really a band that I ever expect to reinvent the wheel. They certainly haven't done that here. They've, you know, kept along this sort of streak they've been going on as far as their sound goes, though I will say, definitely going back to a sort of murkier, darker kind of atmosphere on this record as opposed to the last one. So overall, it just makes for a fun metal album. Definitely a great one to put on at the gym, or if you're just, you know, feeling kind of angry. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Let me know what you think of the album in the comments, favorite songs, whether you liked it, didn't like it. Don't forget to check out some other reviews, and as always, don't forget to subscribe. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.